Thank you all for joining me. Just to remind you all, replenish is an atmosphere of discovery. It is to reveal and unveil. It is an atmosphere of revealed knowledge and wisdom in every area of your life. And replenish means to fill again after being diminished. It means to complete. It means to recover your former fullness. Okay, and the symbol for replenish is wind or breath, simply because it is how the Spirit of God moves, right? You don't know the start, you don't know the end, but you have to be willing to allow Him to blow His life-giving Spirit into you so that you can live again. And so I wanted to begin with that. Today's session is on perfection. Today's session is on perfection. And this will be a good one for you to take notes. It's a lot of information, okay? So, perfection is the condition, the state, or quality of being free, or as free as possible from all flaws or defects, okay? Perfection is the condition, state, or quality of being free, or as free as possible from all flaws or defects. It is a state of completion or being whole in all your parts, okay? It is reaching a level of maturity, meaning you've gone through all of the processes needed for you to mature and grow, okay? Perfection. I'm giving you the definition because we have a view of perfection that is not right, okay? Perfection is the condition, state, or quality of being free, or as free as possible from all flaws or defects. It is a state of completion or being whole in all your parts, okay? Perfection is reaching a level of maturity, meaning you've gone through all of the processes needed to mature and grow. You've gone through all the processes needed to mature and grow, okay? So to be free is when you stop seeing flaws that are not flaws in your original design, but there were flaws because that particular characteristic was made fun of, it was not nurtured, or it was killed, okay? To be free is when you stop seeing flaws in yourself that were not flaws in your original design, right? But you've said that they were flaws because that particular characteristic or that particular part of you was made fun of, it was ignored, it wasn't nurtured, or it was killed, okay? And so what has been happening is we've been calling the wrong stuff right, and the right stuff in us, we've been calling it wrong, okay? And we've been living life that way, imperfect, okay? Perfection is reaching a heightened state of appreciation for self as God sees you. Perfection is reaching a heightened state of appreciation for self the way that God sees you. It is contentment and trusting that God created you right, even though people may have said and treated you wrongly. I'll repeat that. It is contentment and trusting that God created you right, even though people may have said things and done things to you that were wrong. That doesn't make you imperfect, okay? So now is the time. Now is the time for you to be perfectly you, not someone else's version of perfection. Perfection is reached at every stage of your growth, right? You go to the doctor, they tell you, hey, you're perfect, you're right in the middle, right? Perfection is reached at every stage of your growth. It is the maximum level of flawlessness you can achieve at that certain stage in your life, okay? Some of you are as perfect as you're going to be until you get to your next evolution, okay? You evolve when you learn and apply the knowledge that you receive, which is daily. Daily, we should be growing. Daily, we should be getting better, Okay, you evolve when you consume the nutrients needed for your growth. Some growth happens in small stages, right? And some growth is monumental. It just happens all at one time. Okay, think about an apple tree. A perfect little seed is not a perfect little leaf, right? It has to grow to become the leaf to become a perfect leaf, right? So you can be perfected and whole according to God in whatever stage you're in if you grow according to his design. Okay, so a perfect little baby is not a perfect little 10-year-old, because if that 10-year-old is still behaving like a baby, then they say there is a deficit. Are y'all understanding? So whatever stage you are in your life, be perfectly you. Okay, so I gave you the example of an apple tree so that you understand a perfect little seedling is not a perfect apple tree, right? You can't compare a seedling to an apple tree. You can't compare a seed to a bush, right? It starts as a seed, okay? Here's what you should avoid: excessively high personal standards. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the things you should avoid is excessively high personal standards. Another thing you should avoid: overly critical self-evaluations. Overly critical self-evaluations. Your standard for yourself need to only match God's standard for you, because his standard for you is perfect, right? He's seen the beginning and the end, okay? Anything beyond God's standard for you, you won't reach, right? And that's when the frustration, that's when the anger, the worthlessness, the bitterness, that's when all of that sets in, because you were never to attain that standard until you evolve past this stage in your life, okay? Then when you evaluate yourself, you're not doing it accurately because you are comparing yourself to other people that's not in the same stage as you, right? They didn't have the same environment you grew up in, or they didn't have the same influences. So your comparisons are off, okay? This gives you an unrealistic expectation, and it also gives you fears of failure when you do this, okay? You begin to fear judgment or disapproval from other people, which causes a negative, stressed, angry response from you, right? And if it's not on that side, you will respond by shrinking back, by never taking risks, by never standing up for yourself, never setting boundaries, all because you fear judgment or you fear someone's disapproval of you, okay? Early childhood experiences, such as having your parents, teachers, somewhere in your environment, you were branded with unrealistically high expectations, or they gave you their fears of failure, okay? And sometimes these fears turn into narcissistic behaviors. Something that starts off from a place of timidity, right, can turn you into a full-blown narcissist, okay? When you try to overcome fear with control instead of confidence, you'll find yourself trying to dominate and manipulate other people to gain and keep that control because you think it gets rid of the fear. I'll repeat that again, because we've all have had some sort of control that we tried to maintain, right? Some of us came right out of it, others stayed in it, right? When you try to overcome fear with control instead of overcoming fear with courage or confidence, you will try to dominate and manipulate people to gain and keep that control because you think it's getting rid of the fear. It is not getting rid of the fear. The fear is still growing in the background. It's just increasing in the background. And the people around you may not be able to see it. They may not be able to help you. So psychologically and probably emotionally, they're imprisoned and held against their will in that space with you, okay? So if this is sounding familiar, This is not the place where you ignore me or disagree with me. This is the place where you admit it so that you can be helped, okay? If you've sought after control instead of confidence to combat your fears of not being perfect, then you are probably exhibiting some of these narcissistic behaviors, okay? And even though you've probably heard that narcissists don't change, the power of God can break anything. There's not a person or created thing in this universe that is stronger than the power of God, okay? But it's a process mentally, meaning you have to see the right counselor. You have to talk to the right people. But spiritually, it can be done and broken the moment that you agree to give up fear and control and trust God more than yourself. Trust that He made you in the image that He needed you to be. Okay? Narcissists require loyalty. It is a requirement because they fear the challenge. Remember, they don't build their confidence, they build their control. Okay? They build their defense mechanisms instead of the courage to face themselves. Okay? They don't like the word no because it challenges their sense of superiority and control. So when you bring the fears to the surface, it exposes them. If anything that you do brings their fear of lack of control or not being perfect, when it shows up, it exposes them. So if you are on this false side of perfection and you have these behaviors, I'm going to tell you how to break it. And in knowing how to break it, those that may be under this type of control, you just do the opposite of what I'm saying, okay? So number one, if you are experiencing these behaviors because you chose control to try to manage fear instead of confidence to manage your fear, if you're on this false side of perfection, the first thing you need to do is let people do what makes them happy. Let them. It will expose your fear of not being in control of their happiness. If you want to break it, you're going to have to do it. And you're not going to want to do it. Everything in you is going to try to stop you. But this is how you break it, okay? Let people finish telling you how well things are going in their lives. Again, you are exposing that you cannot control it, okay? And for those who are under this type of control, you do the opposite. You tell them how well things are going in your life, okay? If you are experiencing these behaviors, respect others' boundaries to protect themselves from you. It breaks your control over them, which you don't need to have. You override boundaries because you're unsure of where you will stand, right? The next one, stop convincing people to have the same opinion as you, okay? It's okay for us to have separate opinions, okay? And for those who are under this control, stop being manipulated into having an opinion that's not your own, okay? I hope you all are following me. The next one, deny yourself of what you want. It starves the domination tactics in you, okay? When you deny yourself, okay? The next one, stop feeding off other people's heightened emotions because that lets you know you still have power over them, right? So a narcissistic person, they enjoy any heightened emotional response that they provoke, okay? So even if it's anger, right? Even if it's frustration, they still enjoy it because they are the ones that cause you to be angry. They're the ones that cause you to be frustrated, okay? The next one, cut off contact with people you know have low self-esteem and be around people you cannot control. This is how you break those narcissistic behaviors in you, okay? If you are the person with low self-esteem, stop being around people that control you, okay? So you all understand that if you're on one side, you do the opposite, okay? So these are the things that you can do if you turn your desire for perfection into control instead of being confident in yourself as you were created, okay? God doesn't make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. Okay? You may have been an accident to your parents. You may have been unplanned, but you're no mistake to your creator. Okay? To be perfect is not doing everything right. Okay? It doesn't mean you won't ever fail. Perfection is when you are wrong, you take action to make it right. Perfection is when you fail, you learn the lesson, and then you win. Okay? When you are content with who you are complete, you are whole, you are perfect. When you are content with your God-designed self, you are whole, you are complete, you are perfect. Perfection is unattainable when you view it from dirty, cloudy lenses. Perfection is unattainable when you view it from dirty, cloudy lenses, okay? The dirt in your lens is other people's opinion of you that's untrue. That's something that will cloud up your vision, okay? The dirt is your opinion of you that is not true. That is something that will cloud your vision. The dirt can be society standards. It can be social media standards. Any standard that isn't true is dirt in your lenses, okay? Rejection and offense causes dirt in your lenses. Because someone has rejected or offended you, you decide to live your life proving something to them versus doing what actually makes you happy. Viewing your life and making decisions through those cloudy lenses will keep you confused and unhappy. Okay? Emotions that are created through dirty lenses are lies. You're emotional about stuff that isn't even true. Okay? Because you're looking at your perspective, your insight, the way you're seeing this thing is not through pure lenses, clear lenses. You are perfect when you are living up to the image that your creator designed for you, not a standard above that, which you will not reach. You cannot go above God's standard. He knows your limits. You don't. Okay? In order to be perfect and complete, you must fill in those holes, those voids that keep you from being at peace with yourself, from being content with yourself. Okay? Whatever it is you need to know, go get the information. Okay? Some of us stay in holding cycles, or we are actively in a holding pattern because we want to know why somebody said what they said or why they did what they did to us. Guess what? It won't change who you are knowing why, but you've convinced yourself that if it somehow makes sense to you, you'll move on. That's a void. Needing something from someone else puts you under their control until they give you what you've convinced yourself you need in order to be whole again. Okay? Stop focusing on regrets. Either do it or release it. Stop regretting stuff. Either you're going to do it or let it go. Okay? Shoulda, woulda, coulda are friends that you don't need. Okay? If those voids are dead people that you need to forgive, do it. If those voids are living people, release them from having that type of control over you. Okay? You've spent your life waiting to succeed because you want to make sense of somebody else's twisted view of you, somebody else's wrong deeds that they've done to you. You're trying to make sense of insanity. You're trying to make sense of somebody else's deficits, right? It is time to fill those voids so that you can move on with your life, okay? If it's the expectations of your parents, the expectations of your children, your spouse, your siblings, release it. Nobody needs to have that much control over you. You're not here to meet their version of perfection. There's only one that you need to meet the standard of, and that's God. Everything that you need to be whole, God has already placed it in you, or he gives you the ability to attain it. Okay? The issue here is that we have a cultivating problem or we have a receiving problem. Okay? Everything that you need to be whole, it's already in you, or God gives you the ability to attain it. So the problem that you have is a cultivating problem or a receiving problem. You need love, but you won't dig for it, or you won't receive it when it shows up. You need peace, but you won't search for it within, or get out of the places and from around the people where peace is not. Okay? Go towards peaceful people until you find it within you. Then you'll fill that void of peace with something that is sustaining to you, versus drugs and other activities that can never keep you in a state of perpetual peace. Okay? It might do it temporarily, but you'll find yourself back at it because it doesn't actually fill that place in you. Okay? Only real love, real peace, real joy will fill those voids in you, not these imitations. Okay? And they have a lot of imitation stuff out there. Okay? If you have all of these things within and you learn to receive them when they show up in your life, you won't have holes that you're trying to fill with unhealthy habits that tarnish and destroy your mind, body, and spirit. Okay? You are perfect the way you were created. You are perfect the way you were created. It doesn't matter if the circumstances surrounding you being created are perfect or not. Okay? Don't confuse the situation surrounding you with your perfection. Okay? Don't confuse someone else's words or actions toward you with your perfection. We will take a messed up situation we've gone through or we're going through now and attach the situation to our identity. That's not a part of you. It's just an event that happened. It's just a chapter in your book. It's not the whole book. You can start a new chapter. Okay? And this is the moment that you do that. Start this next chapter being perfectly you. Do you know all of the wonderful things about you? Find them. Find those wonderful things about you and fall in love with them. Okay? And when you do that, you will be able to share those wonderful things instead of sharing the negative things that are fear responses or their trauma reactions. Okay? You're tired of that. I know you're tired of that. You've been tired of that. And you don't have to be tired anymore. Okay? And let me tell you something else. Being perfect doesn't mean you have to be everything to everybody. And I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. Being perfect does not mean you have to be everything to everybody. Being perfect does not mean you have to be everything to everybody. Okay? Only be you, perfectly you, to who you are called to. And to the people that you are called to, you're perfect to them. Okay, so today's session was on perfection. I hope you take this. I hope you ingest it. I hope it nourishes you. I hope you understand that it is the condition, the state, or quality of being free. Okay, it is reaching that level of maturity, meaning you're going through all of the processes that is needed to mature and grow, right? All of those flaws that you thought you had because it was made fun of, or because it wasn't nurtured, or because someone tried to kill it by doing some traumatic act to you. Okay? Find it. Find the wonderful things about you. Fall in love with it. Before you try to convince someone else to fall in love with it, you fall in love with it. Because if you haven't fallen in love with it, someone on the outside would never. No matter what you do, no matter how you can act and appear to love, people know when it's not real love. Okay? Especially narcissists, right? Because they know how to manipulate it. So be free, be perfected. That ends this session. We're going to say our quote, which is, today is the new day for the new me. To follow the instructions, to be the example for my peers. I will be understanding. I will be more open to learn how to respond, to feel happy about all of the things that once affected me. I am somebody's answer today and in the future. You all be blessed. Chew on this, digest it, share it with someone else. I love you all. Goodbye.